I don't know when I first noticed him, maybe I was 10, maybe a bit older. But he was always there. A speck in the distance, far enough away that I could barely make out his twisted form, a hunched, decrepit man with long, greasy hair hanging over a face so sinister it made my skin prickle. His presence was like a black hole in my vision, a stain in the fabric of reality that nobody else seemed to see. He never moved. Never got closer. At least, not until I turned left. It took me years to figure it out. At first, he just felt like a bad dream, a lingering shadow in the periphery of my life. Then, one day, I noticed it. Every time I turned left, he edged just a little closer. Just a step. Just a breath. At first, I could ignore it. But as the years passed, as I aged from a clueless teenager into a deeply paranoid adult, the distance between us dwindled. By the time I was 25, he was across the street. By 28, I could see the yellow rot of his teeth when he grinned. And now, at 32, he's pressed against me. I stopped turning left years ago. Trained myself to only take right turns, even if it meant going in ridiculous loops just to get where I needed to go. But there's something I can't control, my sleep. Every night, I toss. I turn. And every morning, I wake up with him closer. At first, he was just by my bedside, his reeking breath warming my face. Then, he lay beside me. Then, on top of me. Now, he is smudged into my right side, so tight, so agonizingly close, that I can barely breathe. His skin is cold and wet, like raw meat, pressing into mine with unnatural force. When I move, even the slightest twitch, his bones grind against mine, his limbs twisting to match my shape. I can feel his ribs shifting against my ribs, his knees locked with my knees, his teeth clacking against my own. My girlfriend left months ago. She never saw him, but she knew something was wrong. How could she not? It's hard to maintain a relationship when your body is permanently entwined with an invisible old man who smells like spoiled milk and wet mud, but she wasn't the only one. Before I learned to keep my mouth shut, I told people. Friends, family, even a doctor once. I tried to explain it, that something was following me, getting closer every time I turned left. That I had to stop, had to find a way to keep him away. They thought I was losing it. They told me it was paranoia, stress, maybe even schizophrenia, and he was there for all of it. When my parents sat me down, their voices low and careful, asking if I had been feeling okay lately, he stood just behind them, grinning. Closer, when my friends drifted away, their texts growing less frequent, I saw him in the distance at the bar, standing just outside the light, watching. Closer, when my boss pulled me aside, concern laced in his tone as he asked if I needed time off, I spotted him in the glass reflection of the office window, just behind my shoulder. Closer, the worst part was the doctor. The way he nodded, scribbling something in his little notepad. The way he asked me if I'd ever had delusions before. The word hit me like a sledgehammer. And just beyond the desk, sitting in the chair meant for family members, was him. Legs crossed, hands folded in his lap. Closer, I realized then that if I kept talking, they'd lock me up. Medicate me. Institutionalize me. That thought scared me more than the man himself, so I stopped. I nodded along. I agreed that maybe it was all stress. Maybe I just needed sleep. I told everyone I was fine, and they believed it. Or at least, they pretended to. But the damage was done. My family saw me differently. My friends saw me differently. I lost everything. My gym routine, my social life, gone. It was too exhausting to explain why I couldn't run on the treadmill properly, why I had to take absurd routes to get anywhere. Why I looked so haunted all the time, and all the while, with every conversation, every lost relationship, every turn back, he got closer, so now it's just me. And him. And I think, very soon, it will only be him. I tried everything. Strapping myself down at night, surrounding myself with pillows like a fortress. I even considered amputating my ability to turn left entirely. But the truth is, It wouldn't matter. Because I still move in my sleep. I still shift. And each time, he takes the opportunity, each morning, he is pressing harder. I feel like a tube of toothpaste being squeezed from the side, my organs shifting under the relentless pressure of his form. My bones creak. My lungs barely inflate. The worst part, sometimes, the pressure is so unbearable that I have to turn left, just a little. Just to relieve it, and every time I do, he gets even closer. I can feel it now. A final shift. A last moment before the inevitable. His cheek is pressed against mine, his fingers interlaced with mine. I can taste the filth of his breath in my mouth, because our lips are now sealed together. I don't know what happens when he finally merges with me completely. But I think I'm about to find out. I'm writing this now because I don't know how much longer I have. It's taken everything in me to force my fingers to move, to reach my phone, to even breathe. He's pressing into me so hard that I can barely see the screen, his forehead is mashed against mine, his eye half swallowed by my own socket. But I need someone to know. I tried everything. If you see someone acting strangely, refusing to turn left, making ridiculous loops just to walk down a street, ask them. Ask them if they see him too. Would be nice to know I'm not alone. I keep telling myself this post is pointless. That nobody will believe me. That even if they do, it won't change anything. But I have to try. Maybe someone out there has seen him too. Maybe someone knows how to stop this, because I can't keep living like this. I don't know what happens when there's no space left between us. But the pressure is unbearable now, like my own body is trying to fold in on itself. My ribs feel ready to snap. My jaw aches from clenching against his. My heartbeat is slowing, like there's no room left in my chest for it to beat, and I can't stop thinking about one thing: what happens if I turn left? I've been free for exactly 2 days, 12 hours, and 17 minutes. Not that I'm counting. Actually, that's a lie. I am counting. Every second feels like a miracle and a nightmare simultaneously. Every tick of freedom is weighed down by what I know and what I can't bring myself to tell anyone. 3 years, that's how long I was held in that basement. At least, that's what they are estimating at the hospital due to my blood work. Time blurred together in that windowless room, marked only by the steady drip of a leaking pipe and his footsteps on the stairs. That drip. That goddamn drip. Sometimes I would lie awake counting them until I reached thousands, feeling my sanity slip away with each watery pulse. I don't remember who I was before. Not anymore. The worst part is knowing that I used to remember. For the first few months of captivity, I clung to my identity like a lifeline. I had a name. I had a home. I had people who loved me. I had a life, but he couldn't stand it when I'd recite these facts to myself in the dark. He'd fly into rages when I'd whisper my real name over and over like a prayer. "You're no one," he'd scream, bringing his fists down on my head, my face, my temples. "You're mine now. Nothing else." The doctors at the hospital believe I have severe brain damage from repeated trauma. Scans show old fractures in my skull that healed without medical attention. Dark patches on my brain where blood pooled and scarred. Memory centers, damaged beyond repair. Now the police ask questions I can't answer. Did I have family? Friends? A job? A home? The only clear memory I have from before is standing outside a Trader Joe's, nearly dropping a paper bag of groceries as one of the handles ripped. It was raining lightly. I remember thinking I should have brought an umbrella, then a hand clamped over my mouth. A bag over my head. The smell of chemicals. Darkness. When I woke up, I was in that room. Concrete walls stained with substances I tried not to identify. A thin mattress on the floor that reeked of mold and worse things. A bucket in the corner that he'd empty only when the stench became unbearable even to him. A single light bulb hanging from the ceiling that he would turn on and off at random intervals, destroying any sense of day or night I might have clung to. The first month, I screamed until my vocal cords shredded, I clawed at the door until my fingernails tore off, leaving bloody streaks on the wood. I begged whatever god might be listening to either save me or kill me. Neither happened. He never told me his name, I never saw his face clearly. At least, for the longest time I didn't see his face, not that finally seeing it helped. I'll explain soon. He always wore a mask when he came down, a plain white medical mask at first, then more elaborate ones as time went on. Sometimes animals. Sometimes cartoon characters. The Mickey Mouse one was the worst. He'd wear it on days he decided I needed to be disciplined. I won't describe what that entailed. I can't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. It was painful. Horrific, that cheerful mouse face watching as he told me I was his masterpiece, a true blank canvas. That humans should be grateful for lives that are full of endless opportunities. Once, he didn't feed me for 2 weeks. Just water. By the end, I was hallucinating, seeing shadows dance on the walls. When he finally came down with a plate of cold spaghetti, I wept with gratitude. I kissed his feet. I would have done anything. I did do anything. The strangest part was how routine it all became. The terror never fully subsided, but it evolved into something duller, more manageable. Sometimes he'd bring me books. Dog-eared paperbacks with coffee stains and torn covers. Sometimes he'd sit in a folding chair and make me read to him, correcting my pronunciation instantly when I stumbled over words. Sometimes he'd leave a small radio that only picked up static and religious broadcasts. The preacher's voices became as familiar as my own thoughts. When winter came, I could tell from the bone-deep chill that seeped through the concrete. He'd bring down a space heater sometimes, but only if I'd been good. I learned to stop shivering in his presence because it annoyed him. I learned to regulate my body temperature through sheer will. I learned things about survival that no human should know. I stopped asking why. I stopped begging to be released. I stopped speaking altogether around the 2-year mark. What was the point? The silence became my armor. He hated it. He'd scream at me, shake me, try anything to make me talk. But I'd retreated so far inside myself by then that my body was just an empty shell. Sometimes I would watch him from somewhere above, like I was floating near the ceiling, observing this broken girl with matted hair and skin stretched tight over protruding bones. The worst times were when he was kind. When he'd bring me a warm blanket. When he'd clean the infected cuts on my legs with surprising gentleness. When he'd read to me as I drifted off to sleep. Those moments confused me, made me question everything. Stockholm Syndrome, the hospital psychologist called it later. I call it hell. Then, 2 days ago, he came down the stairs without his usual measured steps. He was rushing, frantic. No mask this time. And his face. I know he wasn't wearing a mask. It was human skin. But no eyes. No mouth or hair. No ears or nose, no features at all, just a blank canvas. That's all I remember about his face. Time to go, he said, injecting something into my arm before I could react. As consciousness slipped away, I heard the basement door open again. Shuffling. A muffled cry. Another person. Your replacement has arrived, he whispered in my ear. I woke up on a park bench 20 miles from the house where I'd been held. My hospital bracelet says Jane Doe. The police have been kind but frustrated by my inability to provide details. I can't describe his face even though I finally saw it, but I remember his voice, the way it would soften when he was about to hurt me. The slight lisp on certain words. The wet sound of his mouth when he'd lean close to whisper things he planned to do to me. It's strange how my brain protected some memories while obliterating others. The neurologist explained that severe, repeated head trauma can create a patchwork of memory loss. Your brain sacrificed your identity to preserve your survival instincts, she told me. Sometimes I still feel the phantom pain of those blows, the ringing in my ears that wouldn't stop for days, the world tilting as I tried to hold on to who I was before everything went dark. And last night, as a nurse was checking my vitals, I heard a news report on the small television in my hospital room. A 19-year-old girl had gone missing outside a Trader Joe's. One town over from where we are now. I should tell the police everything I know. I should help them find her. I should be doing something, anything, but I can't. I physically can't, because as he was preparing to release me, after I'd heard those muffled cries from upstairs, unmistakably female, young, terrified, he grabbed my face with one gloved hand, squeezing until I thought my jaw would break. "Listen carefully," he whispered, his breath hot against my ear. "You're going to leave here. You're going to stay quiet. If I see one police sketch, if I hear one whisper that you're helping them find me, I will cut her throat while playing a recording of your voice. She'll die believing you killed her." He showed me a phone then, replaying snippets of my voice he'd recorded over the years. My pleas, my screams, even my reading voice from those bizarre sessions where he'd make me read aloud from classic novels for hours until my throat was raw. "I've already told her all about you," he continued. "How you helped pick her. How you're my partner. She thinks you've just gone out for supplies." His tone was nothing less than excited. "She's waiting for you to come back. For 3 years, just like you waited, but here's the thing that keeps me frozen, the thing I haven't told anyone until now. When he released me, he whispered something else. You did so well, I'll be coming back for you. This is just intermission. And remember, her blood will be on your hands if you talk." And on my discharge papers from the hospital, tucked into the folder the nurse gave me this morning, I found a small note on Mickey Mouse stationery: "Miss you already. The new girl isn't nearly as much fun. She keeps asking when you're coming back. I told her you'd return soon to help me with her." Tick-tock, along with the note was a small USB drive. When I plugged it in at a library far from the hospital, it contained only a single video file. 10 seconds of footage showing a young woman, blindfolded and gagged, huddled in the same corner of the same basement where I spent 3 years. A timestamp on the video showed it was recorded just 4 hours ago. In the background, my voice, pieces of recording stitched together, saying, "Don't worry, I'll be back soon. We're going to have so much fun together. I've been free for exactly 2 days, 12 hours, and 23 minutes, but I know I'm still not free at all. And neither is she."